Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. We're taking another look at Matic. Thank you so much to my subscribers for recommending I cover this on a regular basis. It has proven to be a unique and awesome experience, so thank you so much for that. And just know I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should always do your own research. I have years of trading experience, and my goal here is to make sure that you make an informed decision and you become a better trader so you can trade for a lifetime. Now, I will have signal groups moving forward here through my Patreon account. I'll have that before month end. So thank you again for your patience to my community. But also note that I am here to help you, right? I care about you and I want to make sure you make an informed decision. So thank you again for giving me the opportunity to help you. Furthermore, I have $25 in Bitcoin, link in the description below, from Voyager application. Feel free to reference that in your own time, as well as a link to my Telegram community. Awesome group of folks there. If you'd like to get engaged and learn as much as you can just kind of be a fly on the wall if you'd like, but it really helps you understand more about everything just by kind of being exposed to that. So we got some really good folks in there, and I jump in there as well, of course, from time to time when I'm not perfecting my signal group. So either way, thank you so much for your time here. We'll go ahead and take a look at the video here next. Without further ado, let's check it out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Matic. And before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just to get a baseline in the market, see what's going on overall. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is performing very well. All right, so we can see some pretty good consistency here. What, in the past, how many hours is that? That's about maybe two days here. We've seen an increase of over 17%. Okay, and it broke right through this this declining resistance. So all in all, Bitcoin is doing very well, back on track, and what it's doing right now is testing the $40,000 mark, which was the previous, most recent resistance here. 42,000 is a major resistance, whereas 40,000 would be, I would say, equally as important, but more of a minor resistance. The first one has to come through first. All right, let's take a look at the moving averages too. And this is great news. Obviously, we're up over the 50-day moving average, but furthermore, the 200-day moving average is currently underneath the price action. Now, on the 4-hour chart, this is a good sign because anytime we see the price come up over and stay above for just say 2 or 3 solid candlesticks, then we're looking to be in pretty good shape here. Okay, so that's going to be working as a support level moving forward. If we can break this 42,000 mark, we're going to be in very good shape. The Ochimoku cloud, let's go ahead and take a look at the 1-hour chart, also implies that it is currently a buyer's market. As you can see here, we had a sharp ramp up followed by a period of consolidation, as well as another sharp ramp up. So this is a very good sign. We need to have these types of periods of consolidation in between those types of runs to allow for the price to recover and see the RSI kind of calm back down, so to speak. Because even though it is considered overbought still, it still it had enough time to kind of consolidate and calm down, if you will. And it's looking pretty good now. So all in all, sky's the limit for Bitcoin right now, which is great because we can finally see some green over here and get some kind of recovery in the market. All right. So we'll see what happens when it hits 41, basically 42,000. But if we can break 40,000 right now, we'll be looking pretty good shape. Even though we're at 40,800, we still got to make sure we close above these lines. We're not out of the woods yet. So stay tuned for that. Let's look at Ethereum next. Now, Ethereum is performing very well as also a similar pattern here. As you can see, we got the sharp ramp up, a few solid consolidation periods, as well as a further ramp up. Just bear in mind right now, according to the moving averages, we are up over the 50, but the 200 is the next major milestone, as well as 2,900 for the major resistance level. Okay. All right, so that is Ethereum. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Matic. First things first, we always look at the 1-day chart to kind of get perspective on what's going on here. As we can see, the 50-day moving average is working as a support. It was really only under for one day, and then it closed 3 days ago above the 50. So this is awesome. Basically shows us that's a really strong support level. The price should continue to trend upwards. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, the average true range for Matic, it is somewhere in the range of 160 to 220. And we're right in that territory finally here today, or soon to rather. It looks like we're ramping up. We'll probably see a little bit of consolidation because I do believe the price jumped up really hard just a moment ago. So we want to be on the lookout out for that. But that's essentially where we're at here for Matic. Now the RSI is still pretty low, so this is great. We got a lot of room for growth. So at this point in time, the 1-day chart looks awesome for Matic. 4-hour chart, let's go ahead and take a look here. Now at the 4-hour chart, we've got good and bad news here. I mean, more so good than anything, right? Because we can see the price has been pretty consistent on the increase in the last couple of days. And obviously we got a really sharp increase here today. I mean, that little run here in the last, I think, 1 to 2 hours is about 10%. So that's fantastic. We like to see that, but we're going to probably expect it to calm down and relax for a little bit and then shoot up again. I would venture to guess that, any good bull run in the past, as you've seen Matic can do, it needs to have periods of consolidation in between in order for it to not retrace itself back. But the price is still considerably under bought and lower than it should be. So I would expect to see a lot of price movement here in the next couple of days for Matic. Just be careful not to buy the top here. We want to wait and kind of look at the smaller time frame to identify a good entry point for you. But right here, if we take a look, we got the 200-day moving average moving above. So honestly, that would be the next major milestone, minus any other potential support and resistance lines. And honestly, it looks like we're well above a previous resistance of 152. I guess next major might be 172. I'll go ahead and mark that here because that was tested and rejected a couple of times. All right, so that's kind of where we're at for Matic. Let's take a look at 1 hour so we can identify where we're at on the Ichimoku cloud, and we're well above. As you can tell, it's been a buy signal for the last, 24 to 48 hours. And again, the common rule of thumb with Ichimoku is the fact that the 1 hour chart, of course, is the best time frame to use. But furthermore, if you see where the price action is, as soon as it comes up over the cloud, this red cloud here or green cloud, it essentially basically tells you that it's a buy signal, right? So as soon as you bought right here, you would have been fine, came down and bounced and shot right back up and is continuing upwards as well. And as you can tell, the 200-day moving average on the 1 hour chart is working as a support level. Okay? But all in all, pretty good price action here from Matic. Let's take a look at a smaller time frame. Let's look at the 15-minute chart. What I like to look at here is a few things. First of all, I like to use the EMA lines, which is essentially, one line rather. It's the EMA. It's this red line here, and that's essentially the 15, right? So the EMA 15, you'll commonly see the 20 and the 9 together as one, but I like the 15, and what I do is I utilize that to kind of help me understand good entry points. So very similar to the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence, when the price action kind of intersects. That's the 12 and the 26 essentially working, together. They're lagging essentially. This is a 15 where it works on top of the price action, so you can identify good momentum, right? So I typically like to look for 2 solid green bars above the EMA line to identify a good entry point. So as we can tell right now, it's pretty much popping off. We can see a lot of that here. So let's take a look. So first of all, price is over the VWAP line, right? So that's this blue line here. That's the volume weighted average price. It basically takes the last 24 hours of volume, expresses it as a price. And there's standard deviation lines above and below. That's these lines here. And when the price comes above the standard deviation, there's a tendency of retracement. Okay. Now with the price action being so high right here, in other words, the VWAP is down here at 148, and the price action is upwards of about 158. That is almost a 7% variance, right? So when you got such a large variance between the price and the height of where the VWAP should be, then essentially that tells us that there could be a retracement, right? Now we see it retracing a little bit here, but it continues upwards. So just be mindful of that. This is kind of, buying the peak. I prefer to wait for confirmation before I get in. Obviously we have confirmation above VWAP and EMA lines, right? That's good. But oftentimes when it gets this overextended, it'll come back down and test the EMA lines. And in that case, that's maybe where you want to try to find an entry. Okay. Again, just depends. Now, again, the price action is moving very quick, so you want to be cautious and careful not to buy the top. But big picture here again too with Matic and the overall sense of where it's at. That's why we look at the 1-day chart. You can tell that Matic is extremely high as far as the potential. In other words, $1.60 is pretty low compared to where it could be, right? And I confidently feel that Matic, again, as long as Bitcoin doesn't take a plunge here and stays in the $40,000 range, or just say even better, successes and passes right past through the $42,000 range, then we're going to be seeing Matic upwards of $2 easy. For right now, you want to be cautious and wait not to, buy the highest point. But again, there's no bad entry point, I feel, for Matic, right? So that's just kind of the general sentiment there. So be cautious when you take entry. I always recommend waiting for the price to catch up with the EMA lines, because this does appear to be a very strong increase in price. I mean, in 2 hours, we saw over 10% growth. So we want to be careful with that. And as you can see, the volume here, there's a tendency of this maybe either consolidating or retracing down a little bit. I don't foresee it coming way down, but this may be its highest point for a short while. Again, we will see what happens. Right. So again, don't take entry just based on the 15-minute alone, obviously, because we want to have good confirmation, and we do have that here. But the 1-minute chart would tell us a little bit more effectively. And here's a better example. Do you see this VWAP standard deviation lines here? See how high the price is above those lines? Oftentimes when it stays above for too long, it can come back down. Okay. So I just want to be mindful of that. And the same rule applies here too with the EMA line. You see the price is over EMA, keeps bouncing, staying above. That's a sign of a really strong bull run. Now it came back down here and retraced a little bit, of course, because the price action is too high. So we want to be mindful and wait for the price to come above EMA and to stay above for at least 3 solid, green minute, candlesticks, right? And they're not green minute candlesticks; they're 3 solid green bars that are 1-minute candlesticks above EMA. You want to have that confirmation. There's a good chance this might go sideways for a little while and/or come back down to test the VWAP line and bounce and recover. Yeah. So again, just little things to be mindful of, but my prediction here for Matic is to get to, I would say, $2 within the next couple of weeks, as long as we can have some decent price action from Bitcoin. As you can tell, Matic does very, very well when Bitcoin does good, right? But if Bitcoin does, just say average, it's also proven to do very well. So really, there's no reason why Matic isn't a good option, a good choice for a short-term swing trade and or even a long-term position. Just be mindful, if you're going to hodl, you want to try to find a lower price point, but 157 is still very affordable. Okay. So if you found benefit from this, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate that very much. And to my community that asked me to cover this time and time again, thank you so much as well. You're all very fantastic, and appreciate your patience here recently. I was traveling and haven't had a chance to really do a lot lately here, but I'm going to kind of focus and get things moving forward here. I'm really taking a lot of time to kind of get that signal group mastered, so to speak, to ensure that we get you the best option possible. So just be mindful of that and aware. And I did miss our live stream this last weekend. I sincerely apologize for that. I will make that up to you next weekend. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and see you in the next video. Thanks again for your time. You take care now. Have a great day.